Have you ever heard of the most successful pirate in history? What if I told you it wasn't Blackbeard, or Captain Kidd, or Calico Jack? What if I told you the most dominant pirate to ever sail the seas was a woman? This is the incredible, untold story of Ching Shih, the pirate queen who went from a prostitute in a floating brothel to the commander of the largest pirate fleet in history, bringing empires to their knees. Her story begins in the late 18th century in Guangdong, China. Born Shi Yang, her early life was one of hardship. She worked in a floating brothel in Canton, a life with seemingly no escape. But fate had other plans. Her beauty and sharp intellect caught the eye of a notorious pirate captain named Zheng Li. In 1801, he either captured her or proposed marriage accounts. But either way, Shi Yang saw an opportunity. She wasn't just going to be a pirate's wife. She demanded a partnership. She negotiated a deal for cocoman and an equal share of the plunder. With that agreement, she became Ching Shih, meaning Zheng's widow, though that name would come later. Together, Ching Shih and Zheng Li forged a powerful alliance of Cantonese pirate fleets, creating what became known as the Red Flag Fleet. They were brilliant strategists, unifying warring pirate factions under a single banner. Their power grew exponentially, and they terrorized the South China Sea. However, this partnership was cut short. In 1807, just 6 years into their reign, Zheng Li died unexpectedly in a typhoon. This was Ching Shih's defining moment. In a patriarchal society, a widow was expected to fade into the background. But Ching Shih refused to surrender her power. She knew she had to act quickly and decisively. Her first move was to cultivate a crucial alliance with her late husband's adopted son and second-in-command, Chung Po-sai. He was a charismatic and respected leader, and by making him her lover and right-hand man, she secured the loyalty of the fleet's rank and file. It was a masterstroke of political maneuvering. With her position secured, she didn't just maintain the Red Flag Fleet, she transformed it. She implemented a ruthlessly efficient code of laws that governed her tens of thousands of pirates. The rules were absolute. Any pirate giving their own orders or disobeying a superior was immediately beheaded. Stealing from the common plunder or from villagers who supplied the pirates was a capital offense. And her rules regarding female captives were revolutionary for the time. All female prisoners were to be released, unless a pirate wished to take one as a wife. If he did, he had to be faithful to her, and any assault on a female captive was punishable by death. This strict code created a disciplined and formidable fighting force, unlike any pirate crew the world had ever seen. Under Ching Shih's command, the Red Flag Fleet swelled to an unimaginable size. At its peak, she controlled over 1,800 ships and commanded an army of more than 80,000 piratesmen, women, and even children. To put that in perspective, that's more ships than many national navies had at the time. Her fleet was so vast it was essentially a floating government. They established their own taxes on coastal towns and merchant ships, effectively controlling all trade in the region. If you wanted to sail the South China Sea, you paid Ching Shih's protection money, or you faced her wrath. Her dominance was absolute, and it didn't go unnoticed. The Qing dynasty, the ruling empire of China, could not tolerate this open rebellion. They sent their imperial navy to crush her. What followed was a series of humiliating defeats for the empire. Ching Shih outsmarted and outmaneuvered the government fleets at every turn. In one famous encounter, she not only defeated the imperial armada, but also captured 63 of their ships, adding them to her own fleet. The sailors who surrendered were given a choice: join her pirates or face death. Most chose to join. Desperate, the Qing government turned to foreign powers for help. They hired the best the West had to offer, seeking assistance from the British Royal Navy and the Portuguese Navy, both formidable maritime forces. Surely, this coalition of empires could defeat a single pirate queen. They were wrong. Ching Shih's strategic genius and the unwavering loyalty of her fleet proved too much even for the combined forces. She led them into traps, used her knowledge of the local waters to her advantage, and repeatedly defeated the international coalition. She had proven that she was not just a pirate, she was an admiral of unmatched skill. Having failed to defeat her militarily, the Qing government was left with only one option: negotiation. They offered amnesty to Ching Shih and her pirates. This is where her story takes its most remarkable turn. Most pirates meet their end at the gallows or in a bloody battle. But Ching Shih was a negotiator as much as she was a warrior. She walked into the Governor General's office, not as a defeated pirate begging for mercy, but as a conqueror negotiating the terms of her retirement. She rejected the initial offer. She demanded not just a pardon for herself and all her followers, but also the right for her pirates to keep their ill-gotten loot. Furthermore, she demanded that many of her men be allowed to join the Qing bureaucracy and military, some even in command positions. The government, utterly defeated and with no other choice, agreed to all her terms. It was an unprecedented surrender by an empire to a pirate. In 1810, Ching Shih, the terror of the South China Sea, officially retired from piracy. She was allowed to keep all her wealth. To seal the deal and legitimize her status, the government even officially sanctioned her marriage to Chung Sai. She ended her days not in a prison cell, but as a wealthy and respected noblewoman. She ran a successful gambling house and brothel coming full circle, but this time as the owner, not the property. She died peacefully in 1844 at the age of 69, a grandmother surrounded by her family. Ching Shih's story is one of the most extraordinary in maritime history. She defied every convention of her time, a woman who rose from the lowest rungs of society to command a force that humbled empires. She was a brilliant strategist, a ruthless leader, and a masterful politician who achieved what no male pirate in the so-called golden age of piracy ever did, a peaceful, prosperous retirement. Her legacy was so powerful that the Chinese government tried to erase her from the history books, but her story is too incredible to be forgotten. She wasn't just a pirate queen, she was an empress of the sea. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the life of the world's most successful pirate, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more hidden histories. Let us know in the comments which historical figure we should cover next. There was once a woman who commanded more fear than any emperor, more loyalty than any king, and more ships than any navy on earth. Her name was Ching Shih, the pirate queen who humiliated empires. In the dawn of the 19th century, the South China Sea was a graveyard of broken fleets. Empires came to claim its riches, but one woman ruled those waters with an iron will and a mind sharper than any blade. Before she was a queen, she was a survivor. Born as Xiang in 1775, she grew up in the slums of Guangdong, a world of hunger, corruption, and cruelty. Yet her eyes burned with ambition. She would not die nameless. Working aboard a floating brothel, she learned the art of manipulation, reading men like open books, using words as weapons. But destiny would find her in the most unlikely form. Zheng Yi, the most feared pirate lord of the South China Sea, fell under her spell. He saw in her not a courtesan, but a queen. They joined forces, and the seas trembled. Together, they united thousands of pirates under one banner, the Red Flag Fleet. 6 fleets, 70,000 men, over 1,200 ships, their sails painted blood red, a warning to all who defied them. They plundered imperial convoys, crushed European gunboats, and carved an empire out of chaos. The Qing dynasty, the Portuguese, even the mighty British, all trembled before her fleet. When Zhang Yi died in 1807, the world expected the fleet to crumble, but they underestimated her. Ching Shih did not fall, she ascended. Through cunning diplomacy and ruthless discipline, she seized command of the Red Flag Fleet. She made her lover, her late husband's adopted son, her second in command, a partnership of blood and brilliance. Under her rule, piracy became order. She established a strict code: no theft from villagers who paid tribute, no harm to women, death for betrayal. Justice was swift, loyalty was absolute. She turned a horde of cutthroats into a navy that could challenge empires. By 1809, Ching Shih's fleet ruled the South China Sea. The Qing emperor sent his navy to destroy her, and failed. The Portuguese attacked, and fled. The British arrived, and were humiliated. For every ship sent against her, she sent 10 backburning. For every attempt to bribe her captains, she answered with cannon fire. She was no longer a pirate, she was a legend. But Ching, she was more than a conqueror. She was a strategist. She knew empires could fight forever, but they could also be outsmarted. In 1810, she sailed her fleet straight into the jaws of the Qing Empire, not for war, but for negotiation. Before the emperor's ministers, she demanded pardon for all her pirates, amnesty for her crimes, and the right to keep her fortune. And unbelievably, she got it. Not a single pirate was executed. She retired, wealthy, untouchable, and undefeated. a queen who walked away from war without a scratch. Ching, she lived out her days in peace, running a gambling house in Canton. She died in 1844, not on the gallows, not by the sword, but in her bed. Few emperors could say the same. Empires rise and fall, but legends endure. The pirate queen who defied the world still sails in the whispers of the sea, her name carried by the wind, her empire written in salt and storm. She was Ching Shih, the woman who ruled the waves and humbled empires. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more stories of legends who changed the world.